Amazing. If I would have to describe Lily's work, I would just say it's outstanding, amazing. 2 words.
People don't realize how much time it goes into creating an image. But even a simplified, stylized image, to get the final effect, to have the best quality, you need to draw it over and over again.
Clients always want to have things yesterday and they don't understand that hand drawing and doing revisions takes some time.
I was fortunate enough to grow up with artist and designer parents. My father was an oil painting art professor, so I was always in class with him. And I'm always there listening to his lectures. My parents would say, "You're a really easy kid to take care of," because you would just be drawing all the time, or I had my little library on the floor of all my children's books and comics, and I would just sit there for hours and read and draw. So naturally, my parents both wanted me to be artists. I think it was really bohemian way to grow up, and it made me really happy, and that was my identity. I always knew I needed to do something creative. I wasn't sure what that answer would be exactly, but I knew that drawing and working with my hands, doing some things creative was meant to be my future. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University for their School of Arts. They're #1 in the country for fine arts. So we had studio classes where it's purely design, and you learn about color theory, you learn about how to use different materials. We do life drawing, nudes, from traditional media, from charcoal, to experiment with emotions. And there were classes that you work on perspectives. You draw buildings, and there's so many different things, in sculpture classes. The type of illustration I do is mostly figurative. I always love painting portraits. I've always been an observer, and I love watching people, the emotions, the personalities that comes from everyone's eyes and nose and features and what they might mean. I definitely think it's easier to begin a drawing when there's a story behind, because it gives more meaning. There has to be meaning, because that grabs the attention for the reader, for someone passing by, and it evokes an emotion and it tells them something. So we need a background story. In college, I wasn't sure which path I should go. Should I go graphic design, which is safer, or do I go with fashion illustration, which I'm really more interested in? So eventually, I went the fashion route. Years ago, I was saying my dream job is to work for this fashion company, this beauty company, and it actually happened, and that's very encouraging. But my dream job right now is to create art books of all different topics. Switching a career from fashion design, working for professional big companies, having stable salary, and a power job, leaving that behind to start all over was mentally and financially very difficult. As a freelance artist and designer, it's very difficult to have a balanced life sometimes, because everything is super fast. Everyone needs everything done tomorrow, today, 4 p.m. That's why I'm working all these all-nighters and weekends, and I'm missing out on time for friends. People really don't know how late I'm working and how many hours. I have a full calendar where I know when projects are due and when we have meetings, etc. And things are being shifted around all the time. When I'm on a commercial project, I need to understand what the company, the brand image is, what is the direction of this new campaign, how it's being used. Once I have an idea, I go online and do some research. Without doing research and thinking about it, that you can't really tell the story properly. And then I'll do rough sketches. Once it's approved, I'll move on to a painted color, finished artwork.
She worked for Victoria's Secret, she worked in advertising, she knows exactly where the packaging or where the copyright has to be placed and all of that. So she knows all this, how the whole process is. She's very fast, and she has amazing ideas. So you would never be disappointed,
We're in a time where everyone thinks fast is better, but time doesn't dictate what is quality. Sometimes you really can't tell a full story. You really can't get and create something more in-depth without putting time in.
She's very focused, and she if she has to work during the night, so it's done ASAP. Like she does everything, you know, always really in time.
I talk about this with my friends who freelance, and we wonder, like, why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, you have to be true and honest to yourself. And if it's something really important to you, naturally you'll make it work somehow.